Good evening,
Good evening, teacher.
Giovanni. No,
Now,
I mean, okay. How are you doing?
yes, teacher. We are in quarantine, Villavicencio.
Okay, good. And how is it going there? Like a lot of panic, or
Mm, Were you not see notice or news?
uh-huh.
We are tranquil,
Okay, great.
quiet.
Yeah, nice. There is only one case there, right? So
Just one case.
maybe you guys get rid of that soon. If we stop moving from one place to the other while this ends.
That's it.
Okay, good. Good evening, Giovanni. Giovanni,
Good evening, teacher. Good evening. How are you doing?
good. Thank you.
Okay, good.
You're in Bogota, right, Giovanni?
Yes, yes, of course, here in Bogota.
Are you ready? I mean, to have everything what you need to stay home this weekend?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, good. Good evening, Aliana and Carol.
Classmates.
Okay, let's start. Last weekend, I sent you a link to watch a video about Bhutan. The idea is to discuss that information. I mean, didn't you watch it?
No, teacher.
Okay.
I didn't.
There are check your email because there are shorter videos. So you could probably
What email? Personal email or institutional
no
email?
no check your virtual room and check the messages there. There are 4 links. One is about a TED talk that is long because it's 20 minutes. But there are 3-4 videos that are shorter. One of them is 7 minutes long. So watch the shortest and then you can
Teacher,
participate with that information. Carol?
Message.
teacher, I only see the first one that is the most longest.
The longest, yes, no problem, because the others were like if you wanted to know more about the life there.
Ah, okay.
Since one is short, I mean, could watch it to participate later. Okay, Giovanni and Carol, did you watch the video about the TED Talk
No, teacher, when did you send the link?
a week ago?
No.
A week ago?
Yes.
In the message, but right now I can see all the message, teacher.
You get into the teacher's message and there say review the last conversation, something like this. And
Let me see.
there you
Okay,
can.
or I can send you the links. Just give me 1 second.
Last conversation.
Okay, here you have 3 videos. Choose the shortest one and watch it a minute. Meanwhile, Giovanni do the same. Meanwhile, Daliana and Carlos can participate. Paola, good evening.
Good evening, teacher.
Paola, did you watch the TED Talk about Bhutan?
Yes, teacher. I watched the video.
Very good. Julian, good evening.
Hello, teacher. Good afternoon for me.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we can start while Giovanni and Amin watch a short video. So what do you guys remember about that TED Talk? What do you guys, what information caught your attention?
That it is a lot of information, but for me, caught my attention that they bring subsidies for the people acquire cars, electric cars. They bring to the farmers the electricity is free because for reduce the firewood use. And there the college, the school, I don't remember what of the college and the schools are free. And the pig, I don't know, say that in English, I'll say the name, but I don't remember.
The GDP.
Excuse me, teacher.
I don't believe that is the GDP for they are the happiness. That is.
Okay. No, they have two measures. One is a GNH. GNH, that is the gross national happiness, so that they actually measure how happy their citizens are, opposite to what many countries measure, which is the amount of money that each person produces in a country, that is the gross domestic product.
Okay, yes. So about the GNH, it is the happiness, and that called my attention. I know a lot of them, but I really thought my parents have earlier.
Very good, Carol. Amin, you have a question?
Yes, teacher. We can see the video right now, or I'll wait.
You can watch the video while we have the conversation about the TED Talk. Later.
Watch video, the first video, or all the videos?
No, I sent you 3 links. So choose the shortest and watch it. I think one is 7 minutes long. I think one of them is 7 minutes long. So your classes have not seen those 3 videos. So you can like participate later by telling us what you watched.
Okay, I'll see the second video.
Okay. Good. Julian, Paola, and Daliana. Tell us, Giovanni?
I'm going to shoot the last video, 9 minutes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, so
well, in that video, we can see the organization of the city. In the taxi, you will be able to see the sign that said you shouldn't smoke, and you also can see different monuments. It was a very interesting culture of that city, of that country. You can also see a stadium of football.
And a stadium?
Exactly. You can see the different way of clothes. The people dress different, like us. the street. You can see the street is the clean street. You can find any garbage in the street. The culture is different. You can see different landscapes. Well, I think it's my point of view. I think that the more interesting of the Deep Tube City is the monuments, the different architectures of the street, the monuments that they have in the city.
Okay, so what Giovanni just mentioned is about a video that shows how people live in the city, the capital of Bhutan, right? But as you guys watch in the TED Talk, Bhutan has a lot of countryside. So there is some difference. There are some differences between the life in the countryside and the life in the city, as in any other country. But here, this country is really different to the rest of the world. So as Giovanni mentioned, there are some cars. Everything is clean. Is clean. The architecture is different. There are cars, but there are no traffic lights. So
Exactly.
who controls the traffic?
I don't know. I couldn't see a police officer.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there are police officers, and they are the ones who control the traffic. They don't have
Okay.
traffic lights. So the police officer is the one that is in the street controlling the traffic, telling who's
That,
it's like when we have problems with the traffic lights in the cities, that we need a person who controls the traffic. That is what happens there.
yes, exactly. But for example, in this culture is different because uh, the culture of art is different. It's mandatory to have the traffic light here in the city, or else we are going to get in tremendous traffic jam all the time. I think maybe because we don't respect the other human being. I think.
But also because our cities are bigger. This capital of Bhutan is small. It's a small country.
Yes, yes, of course. It's true because here in Bogota, for example, we have around 8 million of people. Uh, but in that countryside, the population is fewer than here.
Could you please check in Google, Giovanni, the amount of people? Caro?
Teacher is 700 habitants there in Bhutan.
In the country,
Ah,
in the whole country.
Yes.
And in the
700,000. 700,000?
700,000, Caro?
700 inhabitants, yes.
Okay, not even a million of people. And how many of those live in the capital? Could any please check?
The gross national product to Bhutan.
Yes, it's very small, teacher. It's almost 1 million, as you say, the same population than Soacha.
How many people? Julian, tell us what caught your attention about the TED Talk, or what you remember about that country.
Sure, I find that is 140,50,000 people in the capital, that is Timbu.
Okay, good. So 140,000 people in the capital. So it means that more or less
140,000 people, yes.
More or less 560,000 people live in the countryside. So more people live in the countryside than in the capital.
Mm.
All right, good. So, Julian, what caught your attention about the TED Talk? What do you remember about Bhutan?
Mm, I remember the climate.
The weather?
Yeah, the reality climate change is affecting to Bhutan. Your glaciers are melting, causing flash floods and landslides. Yeah, landslides, which in turn causing disaster with the spread and destruction in this country.
Right.
I remember the problem for the carbons, but in Bhutan the carbon is negative because your entire country generated 2.2 million tons of carbon and dioxide, but through forests there's sequestered more than 3 times the amount. So they are a net carbon escape for more than 4 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. But
Exactly. So they produce more, less carbon dioxide than the one that the forest can catch. That's why they are carbon negative.
yeah.
Okay, very good, Julian. Paola, what you remember or what caught your attention about Bhutan?
Okay, I liked that the pristine forest, pristine forest is like a virgin forest, yes, and it's a pristine for this Bhutan. Teacher, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Teacher, otra vez se me cortó.
No, I can hear you, Paola. We can hear you.
I don't know. Well, the pristine forest is the better, but for that the carbon is negative. It's negative in this country. And another topic is about I like the gross national happiness is more important than the gross national product. Maybe for this reason, this culture is balance. No, has balanced economic and social development and environment sustainability and cultural preservation. One more. The government provides free electricity to farmers, just to farmers, but to reduce this carbon, and and subsidize the purchase of electric vehicles and subsidize the cost LED lights, luces de LED, LED lights, I think. And another, Bhutan have three programs: Clean Bhutan, Green Bhutan, and Bhutan for Life. Bhutan for Life is a financial mechanics to obtain some resources, and this program is I don't know, finance by private donors, and corporation and some institutions.
Okay, so
one more.
Teacher, that's Paula was saying is because they just have for 15 years more for system the country for society all that they do for preserve the forest, the parks, so that is because this fund, yes, teacher, this fund is because they just have money for other 15 years.
Exactly. So they need money for people who can donate it, and they need to keep to take care of the forest. So they need that money for that, and to provide the citizens with electric cars and free electricity for all the people who live in the countryside, right?
Teacher,
I mean,
I saw the video.
okay, what did you watch?
I didn't know anything about Bhutan. I like the Minister of Happiness. It's very interesting.
Yes, so they have a Minister of Happiness. So like here we have the Minister of Education, of Health, etc. They have one that is in charge of Bhutan's happiness.
You can marry a Bhutan woman or woman of Bhutan by they live in a country that has an excellent health system, for example, like this. Nobody is poor or homeless. The country were insulated until recently. They care a lot. Their traditions is excellent. The dress, and take care of the environment. 70% of the territory of land must be trees. It's very nice. It's like a perfect country. I like it.
Yeah, 70% is covered by forests.
Covered by forests.
It's small, so it's easier to control. If you have few people to control, so it's easier to organize everything. So that's why big cities are no longer good ideas for any country, because more people in cities cause crimes, cause pollution, cause transportation problems. So that's why we need small cities, so that everything can be controlled better by one person. Let's say by a mayor. Exactly. So you guys watched.
Teacher, how small is the country?
Can
It's
anybody
very
please Google? Can anybody please Google how big?
okay.
Because here in this map we can see that it is between China and India. You know, China is huge, and
Okay,
India is also a big country. But if there are only less than 1 million people in the country, less than 1 million, like Giovanni told us that is more or
just
less
just a million people.
less, 700,000 people.
Is
It's
around
very small.
5,000.
It is small. Carol?
The area is around 2,334 meters.
Okay, does it say how we can compare that land with other like country or city?
Mm.
Can you guys check how big is Bogota to see if probably is bigger than Bogota?
Teacher, I don't know, right? But Bogota is around 1,775.
Hold on. Bogota is 1,000.
700. Yes, around this.
And Busan.
Bhutan is 2,300.
So it's like a Bogota.
It's,
No, it's bigger.
It's bigger, but
It's bigger, but Bogota has almost 8 million people, and Busan only has
It's like
less than 1 million.
Dinamarca,
Maybe,
I suppose.
I guess. I guess it will be as big as Cundinamarca, but with much less people.
Okay.
So Bogota is smaller a little bit, but we have 8 million, and they have
It's a
only
cloudy
700.
city.
900,000.
Crowded city.
Bogota is a crowded city. That's why Bhutan has 70% of Bhutan is covered by forests.
Teacher, and the constitution of Bhutan requires that at least 60% of the country to be covered by forest.
So in their constitution, they have that law. It's mandatory for them to keep that amount of a green space. What are do you guys remember what are the plans of Bhutan regarding the energy that they produce?
Teacher, they have hydroelectric hydroelectric, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
and they export this energy to other countries.
Exactly. So they have a hydroelectric production of electricity, and they plan to export that electricity to other countries.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Eh,
Daliana,
yes,
what
teacher.
caught your attention about that country?
A lot of aspects, but one of the most is the way that they interconnect all the forests around the country to let the animals able to walk around the country. And it is interesting in how they continue with the synergy of the nature, and in this way they try to get a balance with all the animals and the resources that they had. And another thing is the fact that they have a regulation in the constitutions that the kings have the time to retire. The age for the retirement is 65 years. It's interesting because in other parts, for example, in London or Spain, the king don't have this kind of regulation.
Exactly.
Mm,
So they are not ruled by a president, and they are ruled by a king, right? So the king
mhm.
can retire when he's 65.
And as mentioned before, Paula say something like the three programs that they have, and makes me think what happened in Colombia. We can able to do these kind of things. We have a lot of resources, natural resources here, and what happen if we can implement, for example, Bhutan for life in our country? I think we can solve a lot of problems that we have with it, pollutions, and even with work with the farmers. It could be really interesting if it's isn't difficult to apply here, but I think it could be great in the future. We can apply this kind of program.
It is very difficult, I guess, because they talked
Hmm.
about a pristine life. What does it mean? What does pristine mean?
That the nature is like a virgin, like nobody can be able to approach to these places, that is really protect. In here in Colombia we don't see this kind of things. The government sells part of the resources to other countries, and
But,
the
al-
the
but also it's a lifestyle. If you guys watch the longest video of the three ones that were additional, you will see how people in the countryside in Bhutan live. So they don't have energy, they firewood to cook, they don't have luxuries, they don't have special floors, or they don't care about buying clothes, they don't use cars to move in the countryside. They cook their own food, so they don't need transportation to get food to the places where they live. They enjoy life in a different way, so their entertainment is different. They don't go to the cinema, although they have internet. In the city, they have access to internet and to TV. In the countryside, the life is like it was long, long time ago in many parts of the world. So that means prestige, that they have a lifestyle which is very old and is like connected
they,
with their traditions.
they are not materialistic society.
Exactly. So it would be so difficult to change our lifestyle. So
Mhm.
all of us who live in the big cities in our country, We have lots of what I would say luxuries for them because we have access to transportation, we buy different objects that for us is something that give us, let's say, happiness for a period of time. But if you watch the second video, you will understand how they live. So different. That's why they don't produce a lot of CO2. Besides, we were talking about the amount of people who live in that country compared to the people who live in, for example, Cundinamarca. So it's like people who live in Cundinamarca will be like, I guess, 9 times more or 10 times more of the number of people who live in that small country. So it's 9 times more pollution. Okay, something else that caught your attention, Catalina. And
Teacher, hi, how are you?
hello.
Sorry for my delay. I don't know if my classmates mentioned it already, but it's something that I really enjoy watching was first of all the attitude of the man speaking. Like I could feel his happiness, his freedom. Like he just captivated me with that like aura that he had. And when he talked about the GNH, then I thought, okay, that's why he's the way he is. Like, I don't know, like I listened to him and I saw him and I just felt happy, like, I don't know, calm, you know? And I think it's because of the development that is governed by the GNH.
Yeah, it's other, let's say, cheap, right? It's other way of living.
Yeah,
The opposite, I would say, to what happens in the rest of the world.
exactly. Yeah, like he projected a good feeling, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Um,
Teacher, maybe that their national dress is called Go, and that it have the biggest pocket around the world. Maybe they save their books, their cell phones. He showed a picture about he with with his son inside the pocket.
yeah, he said that traditional dress is like a big bucket. That was fun also. So they actually are very proud of the traditions, right? They are proud of living the way they live, and they feel happy that way. Here I would say that if we watch a person living the way they live, we would say that is a poor person and that needs help. So if we see a person living in the countryside that doesn't have like luxuries in the kitchen, like if they don't have furniture, if they don't have a car, if they don't have like is other thing, we would say that it's a poor person. But for them is the way they have been living for a long time. It's part of their traditions and they feel good living in that way. So since they don't spend too much on many things, that's why they produce not a lot of CO2 and they can export the energy that the rivers they have produced. Catalina, did you probably watch this one of the videos that were extra to see the way they live?
Yes, I did watch a little bit of one, but I didn't have like enough time to watch it all. But I think it complements a lot the link that you sent us. But it's more like an intern part of that culture, no?
Uh-huh. It was more to see the way they lived.
Yes. And actually, it remember me of a culture that we have similar here. It's in San Agustin. I don't know if you have been there.
A long, long time. I was 9.
Yeah, it's kind of like I visited San Agustin a long time ago, but the resemblance of this culture and the one that I'm telling you in San Agustin, it's really amazing. It's very similar.
Do you remember the name of that
The name?
community? Yes, of that community in San Agustin.
No, but let me have a look and I will tell you because I don't remember. It's a it's a weird name, so my memory is not that good. But let me just perhaps I can find it.
If you guys happen to watch the other videos, maybe you could compare the way they live to the way indigenous people live in Colombia, with no luxuries, with more like Taliana mentioned, more like thinking about how to take care of nature. No furnitures, no special uh, objects, no, with, without technology, without um, just with the basic things. So their life is devoted to farming, uh, like to grow their food and then cook it and then have some fun with very uh, let's say very traditional games they have. Do you guys remember something else from the video you want to share?
Teacher, maybe that the completely money, the whole money that they have is $2 billion. It caught my attention because it's, I don't know, it's very little with respect to country, but with this little budget, they have their people happy. They have a lot of success. I believe that with this little budget, they do a lot. Maybe a lot of maybe we have more budget, but we don't get a lot of growth to this. So I believe that even he compared this this budget with the maybe that some of the peoples that were in the public have. So that caught my attention too, and will be interesting maybe as a tourist destination. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if there are hotels, but it could be great. No, it will be great.
There are hotels, and in the videos they say that if you want to go there for vacations, you need at least 250 dollars per night.
Um,
It's expensive.
It's expensive
but
because
not all, because it's in other uh, continent. So I believe that is not a lot of money for that they bring.
It is expensive because they don't want a lot of people to go there. And they, if you want to go there for tourism, you need to follow some rules. So you need a tourist guide. It's not that you will go everywhere you want, but you will always need somebody from a local person that shows you the places that are allowed for tourist people, for foreigners.
And it's curious too that they are between China and India, that these countries have a lot of pollution, but yeah, a lot of develop, I don't know, but they take other way.
Yeah, they live totally different to the other countries that are around it. Which is nice is that they feel happy living that way. Okay, somebody else wants to add something else about the videos?
Teacher,
Giovanni?
well, first of all, I think that maybe they are a different way of thinking about, for example, in tobacco, or they don't smoke in their country because it's prohibited. They prefer, in the first place, is the woman. The women is very important in this country, and I think that the priority is the woman. They give a good place for them. Maybe they don't use it different material thing because they are more spiritual, because they don't use luxury thing. They maybe they use different
As we,
different way of dressing. Um, the their culture is different, teacher. I think that Bhutan culture is very interesting to learn a lot about them, about food. They they don't buy anything import. They prefer to grow his own food. That is good. I think that is a good point of that culture. Yes.
Okay, so what we would say that it's an undeveloped country, for them it is not that way. They don't see it that way. They see it as a way to preserve their culture, their traditions, the way they live. Good. Somebody else?
Another thing that I remember in the video said that is they set aside resources to prevent mining, poaching, and the hunting. There is other thing that they implement to protect.
Yeah, because we
their-
talked about the money they have.
Mhm.
So the money they have, they use it for education, health, but also for preventing hunting and mining.
Mhm.
They use that money to control that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, I wanted to tell you something that it was very curious because if you want to visit that city, it's just a little danger as long as you go in the plane because the airport is between the mountains. The Himalaya is over there in that country. So the best pilot is the only one who can land in that in Bhutan. So it's dangerous, but it's fascinating to go to that to that place because you will be able to visit different monuments and different culture, food, and whatever. The food is spicy. This is spicy like Mexico. In my case, I I don't like it. I prefer another kind of food, but it's good. The culture is nice to visit.
Right. So the Himalayas are in
Teacher,
that area. Who wants to say something? I didn't get it. Paula? Carol?
Teacher, maybe that if Giovanni don't want to ride there by plane, maybe by the border of China, in a car.
That would
So
be
in this way you avoid the plane.
yeah. So a flight to China and then move by car to Bhutan
Yeah, will be an option.
could be an option, right? Okay. Good, guys. You have something else to share about Bhutan?
Teacher, that I wish we could live like that, you know? Like, for example, right now, with all this situation in the world, I think we are too contaminated about too much information and too much technology, too much, like, I think that's one of the main issues about how it's damaging our brain, you know, and our thoughts.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that is if you want to live that like that, you can do it. It's just a decision that you have to take. I don't know if you guys saw a movie, Colombian movie that is entitled Amazonas. Did you guys watch it?
No, no, teacher.
No, any of you?
No, teacher, maybe el abrazo láser. Algo así.
It's it was released like 2 years ago, more or less, or 1 year ago, and it's about a person who lived in the city and who decided to move to Amazonas. Now she lives there. She's not a Colombian person. She's a foreigner, but she married a Colombian guy. If I'm not wrong, she had two. She had a child, not two children, a daughter and a son. And then she decided to move to Amazonas and live far from the big cities and have a different lifestyle. So I guess it's a matter of making the decision of living in a different way. Of course, that means changing your chip completely, means that not having a normal job, not having a normal way or a regular way to get money, but like they say, go and buy a piece of land, grow your food, and live that way. You grow your food, you cook your food, and you have just the necessary things you need. It's not that easy, or for me, it's not that easy because I am so used to a different lifestyle that maybe I can make some changes, but I can't drastically change to move, or let's say to live in a small town.
Yeah.
And slow down the way I live.
Yeah. I think that's the problem that we have, the ones that we live in big cities and suddenly we have to live in towns, like in small villages or something like that. It's really not easy when you are used to all this traffic, noise, and the way of living, which is really fast.
It is. And then we are used to entertainment go to the cinema, to the theater, or to a pub. And changing that is not easy.
Yeah. Like me, I cannot live with the internet, without the internet. Like I can't. I'm already used to it. So I don't know. It will be really hard.
It is. Like once I met a couple of North Americans who decided to raise their child without TV. I was like, what? For me,
Mm.
it was unbelievable because TV has been part of my life since I was born. So
Yeah.
I've been using TV for lots of years. And when they told me that, I was like, so how do you get information about the world? What else do you do? They actually didn't use it. And that girl that was raised that way, she's nowadays 30, and she's okay. She's uh, a normal girl, and she was raised in a small city, close to, very close to the capital of the state where they live. But yeah, for her it was normal because she was raised that way. Since she was born,
Yeah.
she didn't have access to TV. But it's like something you are addicted to or a habit you have. So changing the chip
Yeah.
for me is not easy.
But maybe for a vacations
I am.
it's possible.
But after
Around
2 months, you are okay. Now I don't have TV. I don't have
yeah.
internet.
Yeah, teacher. The last year I was in Valledupar. It's a town, it's a city, it's a normal city. But there don't are maybe a lot of mall, or they don't are. If you don't go to the mall, there don't are other things for do. So my brother and me, okay, the first month was great, but after this time, because like, oh my god, no, I miss Bogota. But yes, it's hard because, for example, the people that going to the mall is very elegant. So here in Bogota, you just put a tennis, a jean, a sweater, no, very normal. But there, the women's are kilns are I don't know, it's a other level. There is because that's the only thing that you have to do, and there you find the old people that you know. So there is very is, but we were to the Guajira, and in the part that on our towns is just the desert. Oh, it's a beautiful experience because the sea is is not is not, I don't know, don't are a lot of people. It's more clean. Uh, but there are two contamination because there don't are cars that call the trash. So yes, it's a different experience. And there are rivers that you can take a shower. I don't know how to say in a river, teacher. A bath. Yes, you can take a bath, just you and your family. Don't are more people. So that's cool too.
Yeah, that's cool. And now that you mention, I enjoy that when I go on vacations to small place or a small town. But after some days, I get bored if I don't.
Yeah.
It's like what Catalina mentioned. I need internet. I'm so used to that, and I need the TV.
Yes, it's a magic too.
And the grandma's house don't have internet
No.
every those time. So that's
Yeah, so it's like having getting some peace and be and feel like in a good place to breathe good air, but not having other things that you like. I don't know, maybe when I get older, I will think about changing my lifestyle.
I don't think it's possible.
No, but I know a lot of
The
people
older
that,
you get, the hardest is to get rid of the whole habits.
Hmm.
But maybe
but a
when
lot
I
of
get
people
older,
feel
I feel that maybe I could feel that there is so much noise in the city, or maybe
Mm.
feel that I need some quiet place
The
With your
culture.
I
TV.
know a lot of people that think
with a TV. Yes, Caro.
that I know a lot of people that think in this way that they just come to Bogota, for example, to make maybe a lot of money, and after when they have more age, they want to get out to other cities, maybe the beach or something like this.
Yeah, the beach would be a good idea for me. I could change the TV for the beach, maybe.
Nah, you will get tired. 365 days on the beach? I don't think so. 24/7? No, it's too much. One thing it's doing it on holidays. I know a lot of people, and actually, I used to live near the beach. And I think I went straight for 1 week, and then I was like, no, I will go 2 days only. And then suddenly, I just didn't want to go to the beach.
Hmm.
Yes, it's, I think it's something in our culture because the people that we are surround, we doing the same things. We watch TV, we need internet, and we see other people doing something, and we used to do the same things. So it's difficult.
It is. We are used to that. We are addicted to the cities.
Mm.
Well, okay, very good, guys. Maybe before we finish, you can tell me if you have questions about something else that you have been studying.
Teacher,
This is
No, teacher.
I have a question about the last exam, the text that we have at TOEFL,
uh-huh.
because I don't know exactly what was the page was expect to do, but I record the audio and sent, but I don't know what happened.
I need to listen to it to grade it. That's why you get 0 when you finish, or
Ah,
0 after the deadline, because I need to listen to it in order to give you a grade.
okay.
Now that you tell me, I just have like this week coming to give you feedback about your tasks, because our course ends by the end of this month. It means that next week you will have to self-assess your performance, and you have to start working on this way a lot, because you will have till March 30th, and that will be the end for next week for you. And I have to work hard next week to give you feedback about the other tasks that I haven't graded so far. So that the last week of March, what you have to do is to take a final test, a questionnaire in this way, about about the conditionals, the 3 conditionals, first, second, third, about passive voice and reported speech. That would be like the main topics. So you will have some readings, and based on the readings, you will have some questions connected to those grammar topics. And yeah, that will be the end of the course by the end of this month.
Teacher, about the last exam, the TOEFL, I'm not sure. I didn't understand the question of the last exam about. I didn't understand the dynamic of the last exam.
Okay.
I upload a record, an answer record, but I'm not sure the dynamic.
So the speaking section of the TOEFL is divided into two. So one is listen, read, and answer. And the other is, if I'm not wrong, listen and answer. So the one that you had last week was listen to a person talking about the layers of the earth, then read information about it and answer the question. The answer in those type of questions, sometimes what you have is that what you listen complements what you read or is the opposite. So you have those options. Additional information in the sources, that means text or a recording or audio, or opposite or contradictory information. So when you have the question, usually is how does the information in the listening passage adds ideas on the reading text. Usually we have that. So it means that in the case of what you read and listened last time, that was about layers of the earth, the reading was about the ways the layers of the earth were formed. So the reading mentioned like two different ways. You have to mention those ways. And the listening gives more information about one of those ways, if I'm not wrong. So the reading said that, or it was the opposite. But the thing is that one of the sources, the reading or the audio, mentioned that the earth was, the layers of the earth were formed all at the same time. So it was like the earth was formed just at once, all the layers at once. And the other theory is that the layers were formed by cycles or one before the other. So that it all started with a small core, with a small layer, and then the other layers were formed after that core. So in that type of question, I mean, what we need to have in mind is that we need to identify, we need to take notes from both, from the reading and from the listening. Take notes on the details and identify the main information. The main information in this case was layers of the earth.
Teacher, excuse me. The answer have any specific duration?
Could you repeat the question because I didn't get it?
About the time of record.
Yes, when you take the test, the original test, you have some time to record your answer. It's a minute or a minute and a half.
A minute?
Yeah.
What?
It is very, so when you want to, if you want to take that test, my advice is that you prepare, that you get ready for the test so that you study for that with a timer so that you actually spend just the time that it is required to take the test. Because I guess you took a lot of time to answer the question because it was something for you to practice. But in real life, you just have like a minute and a half to answer.
Okay.
It's not impossible. You just need to work on that till you get used that you have some time. If you do it without preparation, I am sure you are not gonna make it. I'm sure you won't have the time that you need to answer because you will be thinking about the correct answer, and then by the time that you realize, the time is ended for you to record.
My answer had 30 seconds, just 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yes.
That's not the problem. The problem is to answer completely so that the information that you recorded in the 30 seconds is about the information in the read, the information in the listening, and how both are related, if they are additional information or if they are opposite ideas.
Teacher, teacher, that day I had some trouble with my listening, with my Microsoft, so it was impossible for me to record my voice, but I write down the the answer. I don't know if that's okay.
I will grade it, but it was not expected because I need
Mhm.
also to grade your pronunciation because it's the speaking section.
Exactly, but I tried to do for different ways to record my voice, but was impossible. But the deadline, they say okay, I couldn't buy another Microsoft that day. So what I did was to write down the answer.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if any of you is interested in taking the TOEFL, you will find lots of information in the web. And even in, I share with all of you some links of the British Council, right? If I'm not wrong, the British Council has a link for people who want to practice the type of questions that that exam has. So you can also check the British Council webpage to get more practice for that test. I own a book, but for the IELTS, which is kind of similar. But if any of you who live in Bogota is interested in having that in copy, if you want to copy the book, I can borrow it to you so you can take the copies and board the series if you want to practice for the IELTS, because that's the book I have. For the TOEFL, you have lots of information in YouTube for the speaking section and the listening, and in Google for the other sections if you want to practice.
Okay, teacher, I want to ask you a question about the TOEFL. Do you know how much is the cost?
If I'm not wrong, it will be about 500,000.
Oh, it's expensive.
And because you need to pay the amount of money according to the cost of the dollar at the time you buy it. At the time,
Yes. Right now, the dollar is expensive.
right?
Yes. Okay. Okay, teacher, thank you.
But there are other international tests that are less expensive. For example,
Okay. IELTS.
well, IELTS is a little bit less
Teacher,
expensive.
I hear about the pet. The pet.
Okay, but PET, CAT, and those are the ones that go before the IELTS. So PET is the easiest. Then we have the CAT. Then we have the FCE. And then we have the IELTS. So it means that the IELTS measures till C1, C2, but the PET only measures till A2, and PET measures till A1 if you had the A1 level, CAT measures if you have till the A2 level, FCE measures if you have till B2 level, and the IELTS measures if you have C2. So see, if you take the PET, it will only tell you if you have the first level. But if you take the IELTS, it will tell you if you are in the first level, the second, the third, or if you have C2.
Okay, teacher, and the dynamic is the same. For
Could you,
example, the dynamic of the exam is the same.
it's very similar to the TOEFL. It's very similar.
Teacher, the speaking, how is evaluate
Uh,
with another person or
Yes, IELTS. To take the IELTS, you go to Savannah University, if I'm not wrong, and the British Council, and then you have an interview with a native person. While if you take the TOEFL, you record the answer, so you don't have to deal with a face-to-face interview, but you can go to different places that are authorized for you to take it. I use a computer and send the information through internet, so somebody uh, that works for TOEFL listens to your answers and read your answers when you get to the writing section, and then send you the report and the score through internet.
teacher, and for example, I take the exam for a specific level, or I take the exam and they put me in a level.
If you take the IELTS classifies you in a level. But if you take the PET, it also the results will only tell you if you have the first level.
And TOEFL, teacher.
TOEFL also measures still C2. So if you take the TOEFL, the results will let you know if you have it will classify you in a level from A1 to C2. There are other international tests that are even cheaper. We have
Teacher,
the
but
ITEM.
I have a question. So I don't choose. I choose the level that I want to take evaluate to me, or I just present the exam and they then classify the.
If you take the IELTS, the exam will classify you in a level. If you take the PET and you have level B2, so the result will tell you you have level A1, and that's it. Or you accomplish level A1. You are your level A1. You are able to perform as a person that has level A1, but doesn't tell you you have more than A1. So let's say that these are sub-tests of the IELTS. CAT, PET, FCF, sub-tests of the IELTS.
The teacher, I have a question. As an English teacher, you should be classified in B2 or C1. What is the common? For example, here in Colombia, in some or different school, is a requirement to have C1, or maybe you will be able to be an English teacher with B2.
If you are an English teacher, you are required to have a C1 level. If you study any other major, you are required to have a B2 level.
Okay, perfect.
That's what is expected, but you know the reality. The reality is that most English teachers in Colombia have a B2 level or less.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but what we have, the requirement of the government is that English teachers should have C1 and other students from other majors should have B2. Okay, if you want cheaper international tests, you can take the ITEP or you can take the Michigan at the Colombo American Language Center. They are cheaper and they are also taken into account outside,
Oxford?
abroad. Oxford?
Oxford is another exam?
No, I haven't heard that Oxford is an exam. Oh,
Okay. I heard of Michigan, IELTS, TOEFL. I think that is the more important, but Oxford is not so important.
no, I haven't heard that Oxford is a test.
Okay.
Oxford, no. I got it. Yeah. Oh yes, there is one that is, but I'm not sure is that the name of the exam, but it is an exam that is sold by Oxford, the publisher. Yeah, they classified. For example, I know in some universities in Bogota, they ask students to take the Oxford, the test that is offered by that publisher to as a requirement to graduate. But
Exactly.
I'm not sure where you can take it. I am sure Michigan you can take it at Colombo Americano. ITEP is also now is the cheapest, I guess. ITEP. And the TOEFL that can be taken in many different places, at least in Bogota and in different cities in Colombia. So they are like, as you mentioned, like the ones that are more recognized. But as well, if you can take a cheaper one, is the ITEP is one of them, or the Michigan.
Yes, but I would like to know uh, why most of that exam is the listening is in British English, no in American English. I don't understand.
Which one?
Yes, most of them,
Ah,
the listening is in British English. So what I mean is, it's important to to try to listening all the time the British accent before to present the TOEFL exam, for example.
no, the TOEFL has not only British accent or audios of the British accent, but also with other accents. But this series of tests are designed in Great Britain. So that's why these PETCAT, FCE, IELTS will always have British accent because they are designed in Great Britain.
Teacher, in that way, it is the possibility to change the the language, the accent, British or American. So you can choose what you want.
And the advice is that you get used to different accents because English is spoken in different places. So it's better to listen to different pronunciation. But if you make the decision to take any test, you need to practice before you take it. Because all of them will ask you to answer with a limit of time.
Teacher, but by the way, talking about this, the different, well, platform
Tests.
or tests, exactly, excuse me. That way is valid to present the certificate of that weight in any other school or institute or something like that, or in another country, or not?
No, that's why it's a platform like to tell you that you studied English for, let's say, 600 hours.
Okay.
But it's not is not internationally recognized as a certificate for you to study abroad or for you to get a job.
Exactly. Okay. It's not a certificate outside. It's only here to improve your English. No more.
Or to tell other universities that you studied English and that you got to a certain level.
Exactly.
But not for further studies abroad or for further studies in our country or for getting a job. No.
Okay.
Teacher, maybe the other semester we're going to review something about technique or professional, I don't know, technique vocabulary or speaking, something like this. Business vocabulary or something like this.
No, Carol, because what all of you guys study is English for general purposes. If you want to study English for specific purposes like medicine or nursery or business or engineering, you can get some books at Books and Books. That is a good library in Bogota. That library is located on Street 140th and 18th. In that library, you get
What is the name, teacher?
Books and Books is the name of the library.
Okay.
There you get books to study English for specific purposes.
Because it's necessary sometimes.
In your case, I guess you are interested in getting information about technique English for health, for the health area. So there, I saw a month ago, I saw a good book. You could probably buy it because it's about English for nursery, which is close to your field, to your major, which is medicine.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Good. Any other question?
Final question for me, teacher. Do you have a TOEFL?
Yes, I have to. Almost,
Okay.
yeah, I took it long time ago, and the last one that I took was the ITEM because the university asked me to do so. The university asked me to take it like every 2 years, the ITEM. And the TOEFL, I have taken it twice.
Really? Twice?
Twice.
Wow. The first time, what happened? You lost?
No, the first no. The first time was in like 10 years ago.
Because I know one friend of mine, he presented the TOEFL 3 times, but he
Uh-huh.
couldn't pass. Yes, he couldn't pass it. He wet his money
Well,
because he
the,
told me that it was very difficult exam.
the TOEFL tells you in reading you have, for example, C1 level. In listening you have B2 level, let's say. In speaking you have a C1 level. In writing you have C1 level. So in general, since you have 3 abilities in C1, so TOEFL says you have C1. Yes, so if 3 of your skills are in C1, you have a C1 level.
Okay, congratulations, teacher.
Teacher, I don't know if we maybe could review the something about daily life vocabulary, maybe a conversation or something like this, or a practice like between other parents about a specific issue or something like this for because I believe that here in the class, well, I defend myself a little bit, but maybe in situations of the daily life or something like this. So I would like review a little bit.
But I couldn't hear well what topic you want to review. Could you repeat?
Teacher, maybe about the daily life vocabulary or situations
Okay.
or a practice maybe between my other partners, for example, of a specific issue that you can provide us, also, like, I don't know if you understand me.
But to get ready for a test or to
No,
review?
just for speaking maybe in the daily life, because for example here in the class it's possible to communicate between us, but for example in the movies are some vocabulary that in my case I don't understand yet. So I believe that practicing maybe daily vocabulary or the, how is the name? Teacher, voy a hacer en español como unas palabras que son las más usadas en inglés.
Ajá.
Tienen un nombre específico que existen, que son como la combinación de dos palabras. No me acuerdo el nombre. I forget it. Yes, teacher,
Like compound words?
it's like this, but it's other. Yes, it's like this, but
It's like slangs. The slangs that something
Daliena,
like that.
do you remember that Jairo's teacher speak a little bit about it?
I think it's slangs. Yes, it's slangs that the, for example, in United States, that the words that they pronounce or create to communicate. I think is slangs.
So slangs like are like words that are used in some places. So let's imagine that here. Let's imagine. No, let's think about the different ways we have in the regions of Colombia to mention an object. So those could be related to slangs. So how people mention or call an object, taking into account the place where the person lives. And idiomatic expressions will be more like, for example, related to says, like for example,
Hold your horses.
okay, thank you. Hold your horses. which is similar to Spanish, like could be like calm down or like
Wait a
slow
moment.
down. It's like easy, like slow.
Take it easy.
Uh-huh.
Or easy peasy.
So yes, we could have. I will check for next for our next encounter how we can practice this.
I
I'm
find it. It's the phrasal verbs. I was forget the word the phrasal verbs.
phrasal verbs.
Yes.
Okay, so phrasal verbs are the verbs that have two parts, like get down, get out, get off. Okay, all right. So phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions could be our topics for next encounters. So we can, I will find a way for you to practice them in the next encounters. That, if I'm not wrong, we will have more. We will have two more encounters before we finish.
Okay.
I have a last questions. The,
Yes.
the, the TOEFL or IELTS exam is the same no matter what we can take?
The same in the sense that they are used, they are recognized abroad and in our country as a test that has reliable results to uh, to verify your level or to let other people know what is your English level. In the way they are designed, in the structure of the test, there are some differences, but not much. For example, IELTS has two versions. One that is the general version, I mean English for general, for I mean it says general IELTS, and the academic one. The academic is the one that is asked if you want to study abroad at a university, if you want to continue your studies. So you need to take the academic version. If you take the general version, it's because you are applying to live in a place abroad, not not to study. So that's one of the differences. You have two versions of IELTS, while TOEFL is only one version. That is, TOEFL is academic because it asks you to write an essay. It asks you to listen to talks about topics that you would study at a university. The other difference is related to the way that both tests are designed, is in the writing type of question. So IELTS shows you, for example, a graph. It could be a pie graph. It could be the structure of an enterprise. It could be a bicycle and the small parts, and you have to describe the graph. Describe how the little parts of the bicycle make it works, or describe uh, how the processes in the company make it work, or describe um, the graph, the pie graph, or the results that the pie graph shows you. You don't have that in TOEFL. In TOEFL, you don't have to describe any graph. So that is one one difference. The other,
Teacher, and how long? Sorry. And how long it takes?
Are the tests? Both are kind of the same. It take you like 3 hours to finish the test. So again, if you are in Bogota and you want me to borrow you the books about IELTS, I can do that. So you can take a copy of it and burn the CDs. The TOEFL, you have information in the virtual room, and more information you can find it in YouTube or Google.
Very much, teacher.
Okay, teacher, thank you for your advice.
Okay, guys. So that's all. I have your suggestions in mind for phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions for our next virtual encounter.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a good night, teacher.
Have a good night, everybody. See you in a
Okay.
week.
You too.
Everybody, have a good night.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
teacher.